All right. So have you ever thought about like opening up your place or maybe that little beach bungalow you snagged to short-term renters? We're doing this deep dive because you're curious. You want to know if it's even worth diving into the world of STRs.
Smart move. So many people, they get swept up in the excitement. They totally skip that step.
Right. It's easy to get sucked into that easy money fantasy, but that's where Christine Schuck's book, Short-Term Rental Success, is so helpful. And it's been updated recently, early 2023, so we know it's current. We're using it to figure out, do you have what it takes to make it as an STR host?
Love it. Let's do it.
One thing I appreciate, she doesn't mess around. She straight up, if you are looking for a get-rich-quick situation with zero work involved, this is not the business venture for you. Music to my ears.
Honest. Right. It's a business, not a hobby. It can be profitable, for sure, but you've got to treat it like one planning, dedication, the whole 9 yards.
It's not like, dusting off that spare room, throwing up a listing, and then just poof, Mike Tice on a beach somewhere while the money rolls in.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So if it takes a certain kind of person, what does a successful short-term rental host even look like, according to this book?
Oh, she breaks it down. It's a whole section, actually. It's fascinating. It's not just about, having a killer property. It's so much more about you, personality, your strengths, your approach. That's what makes the difference.
Okay, yeah, because you're dealing with people, right?
Right.
All the time. Logistics, marketing, it's a lot. So spill the beans. What are some of the big things she calls out?
Well, number one, and this is crucial, the best hosts, they're research ninjas. They know their market like inside and out. They've scoped out the competition. They've got their pricing down to a science.
Makes sense. I mean, you can't just charge whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
Especially if places down the street are going for half the price.
Exactly. And here's another one, got to be creative. The hosts who really stand out, they offer something different, something memorable, a unique experience.
Okay, so less cookie cutter, more dot personality.
100%. Shuck even talks about how she ditched these beige walls she had, went bold with color, made a huge difference. People remember that, It's about standing out.
Research, creativity, got it. What else?
Empathy. Can't stress this one enough. Anticipate what your guests need. Go above and beyond to make it a great experience. You're not just renting a space, you're hosting people in what they see as their home away from home, even if it's just for a few nights.
Oh man, that reminds me of this time I stayed at this adorable little bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
The host, she was amazing. She left these personalized notes and little local treats based on something I'd casually mentioned when I booked. Made such a difference. It's the little things, the thoughtfulness, that really take it to the next level. So I get it. Research, creativity, empathy. I mean, these resonate, right? It's about being organized, rolling with the punches, and actually liking people.
Exactly. And being ready to put in the work.
It's so true. So thinking about all of this, I mean, does any of it jump out at you? Not saying you need to be a research whiz who's also an empathetic design genius, but something to consider.
Absolutely. Figure out what you're good at, what you enjoy, and see how it all lines up.
Speaking of figuring things out, have you thought about what kind of rental setup would work best for you? Shuck makes a good point. It's not just about who you're hosting, but how long you're picturing them staying.
Right. Finding the rental style that fits your goals and, your life.
Okay, so we're talking what short-term, mid-term, long-term rentals. Each one has its own vibe. What are the big things we should be thinking about?
Well, let's start with the one that probably pops into your head first, short-term rentals. Your classic Airbnb situation.
Right. People on vacation, a few nights here and there.
Exactly. Usually a few days, maybe a week, maybe a bit longer.
And that means what? Lots of cleaning, lots of communicating with guests like we were talking about.
Yep. Higher turnover, but the potential payoff is higher too, especially if you're in a good spot, maybe a popular destination, or it's peak season.
Got it. More work, more reward. Makes sense. Okay, so what about this midterm rental thing? That one's got me intrigued.
So midterm rentals, you're looking at stays of a few weeks, maybe a couple of months. Could be traveling nurses, people here for a work project, that kind of thing.
Less about sightseeing and more about having a home base for a while.
Exactly. And because they're staying longer, you don't have to deal with cleaning and turning over the property as often. Could be less hands-on overall. But income can be a little less predictable, too. You might have some gaps between bookings.
Interesting. So little less hustle day to day, but maybe less of that instant income hit. And then there's good old-fashioned long-term rentals.
Right. Your classic 6-month lease, year-long lease. Most stable income, for sure, but the least flexible. And you're probably not going to make as much as you could with a short-term rental.
Yeah, less chaotic. But you miss out on those, like, peak travel times when you could jack up the prices a bit. So how do you even know where to begin? How do you choose which rental type is right for you?
This is where Shuck really hits on something important. It's about knowing yourself, knowing what you want. How much do you want to be interacting with guests? How much time do you realistically have for cleaning, for dealing with messages and bookings?
It's personal, right?
It's
Your life.
exactly. And are you okay with maybe making less money consistently, or do you want to try for that higher earning potential, even if it's a little riskier? And on top of all that, you have to research your local laws and regulations. Shuck stresses this a lot.
Yeah, because those things can trip you up if you're not careful. Zoning rules, permits, all that fun stuff. Research is definitely key. But let's be real, the big question is the money, right? How much can you actually expect to make with short-term rentals?
And Shuck is very upfront about this. There is no magic number.
Yeah.
Location, location, location. And then on top of that, the type of property, the amenities you offer, the time of year, it all factors in.
So you can't just, like, throw a dart at a board and decide what to charge.
Nope. It takes real research to figure out your market and what people are willing to pay. Actually, she has a really helpful example in her book, a spreadsheet you can use to analyze potential income.
Oh, nice. Tools to help you break it all down. Love it.
And honestly, nothing beats some good old-fashioned snooping. Look at similar properties in your area. What are they charging? How often do they seem to be booked? Those platforms are your research playground.
You can learn a lot just by seeing what's working for other people, it seems like, especially when you're first starting out. Pricing competitively is super important.
Absolutely. Attract those first few bookings, get some good reviews under your belt. First impressions are everything, as Shuck says.
Like we were talking about with that personalized touch. Speaking of good first impressions, this deep dive is already blowing my mind. It's not just about having a cute little guest house. It's a whole different mindset, you know?
Right. It's hospitality and entrepreneurship all rolled into one, which actually brings up another important piece of the puzzle. It's one thing to get people interested, but then you've got to actually manage those bookings, the logistics of it all.
Right. Making sure they don't book over each other, keeping track of payments, all that. What's Shuck's take on handling that side of things?
Systems. She's big on that. Having templates for communicating with guests, checklists for every little thing. She even gives you examples you can just lift right from the book.
Okay, I'm a sucker for a good checklist. I'm not going to lie. Makes everything so much smoother. Anything else that really stood out to you from the book?
You know, she talks a lot about customer service, which makes sense, but she takes it to another level. It's not just about being polite. It's about anticipating what people need, going the extra mile, creating those wow moments that get you those amazing reviews.
Because those reviews are everything these days.
Oh, for sure. Word of mouth is powerful. And she actually dedicates a whole chapter to managing reviews. The good, the bad, all of it. How to respond professionally, how to use feedback to actually improve, and of course, how to leverage those glowing reviews to bring in even more guests.
Right, because there's always that one guest, right? The one who complains that the towels weren't, organically sourced or something.
Exactly. You can't win them all, but you can be prepared. And Shuck gives you the tools to deal with those curveballs gracefully.
I have to say, this whole deep dive has been eye-opening. It's definitely not a get-rich-quick scheme, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But for the right person, someone who's organized, who enjoys the hospitality side of it, it sounds like it could be amazing.
Oh, absolutely. It's rewarding, challenging, all of that. So as you're reading Shuck's book, think about this in this world of a million Airbnbs. What can you offer that's special? What's going to get people talking and coming back for more?
What a great question. It's about finding that sweet spot, what you're good at, what makes you unique, and what people are actually looking for. Well, this has been an awesome deep dive into the world of short-term rentals, thanks to Christine Shuck and her book, Short-Term Rental Success.
My pleasure.
And for everyone listening, remember, knowledge is power. You've got the info now as the STR life for you. Maybe this sparked something new. Maybe it helped you make a decision. Either way, we hope you feel empowered, ready to jump in, make it happen. Until next time.